Imagine a world very different from our own, a world without cities, without roads, and without people. The air was warm, and the land was covered in strange plants. This was Earth a long, long time ago. It was a planet ruled by incredible animals. We call these animals dinosaurs. For millions of years, they were the kings and queens of this ancient world. They walked on the same ground we walk on today. They drank from rivers that have long since disappeared. Their story is one of the greatest adventures in the history of our planet, a tale of survival, power, and change. The time when dinosaurs lived is called the Mesozoic Era. This era was incredibly long. It lasted for about 180 million years. To understand how long that is, think about this. Modern humans have only been on Earth for about 300,000 years. The dinosaurs were here for a much, much longer time. The Mesozoic Era was their kingdom. They were not just simple lizards. They were a huge and diverse group of animals. Some were as small as a chicken. Others were as big as a building. They were the true rulers of the Earth, and their story is written in the rocks beneath our feet. During this incredible time, the world looked different. The continents we know today were joined together in one giant landmass called Pangaea. This supercontinent slowly broke apart over millions of years. This movement changed the weather, the oceans, and the land itself. The dinosaurs had to adapt to these big changes. They lived through hot, dry deserts and wet tropical forests. They saw volcanoes erupt and new mountains rise. Their ability to change and survive in this shifting world is what made them so successful for so long, a true testament to their strength and resilience. This journey into the past is not just about big monsters. It is about understanding life on our planet. The dinosaurs show us how life can take on amazing forms. They show us how ecosystems work and how animals compete and live together. Their bones, which we find as fossils, are like clues in a great mystery. Each fossil tells us a little more about what they ate, how they moved, and how they lived. So let's travel back in time. Let's explore the lost world of the dinosaurs and discover why they were the most successful animals to ever live on Earth. The long reign of the dinosaurs is divided into 3 parts. Think of it like a big book with 3 chapters. The first chapter is the Triassic period. This period started around 252 million years ago. The world was hot and dry. Most of the land was one big continent. Life was recovering from a huge extinction event that wiped out most species on Earth. In this new world, new kinds of animals started to appear. Among them were the very first dinosaurs. They were small and not very powerful at first, but they had a special advantage that would help them succeed. The second chapter is the Jurassic period. This is probably the most famous part of the dinosaur story. It began around 201 million years ago. During this time, the supercontinent Pangaea started to break apart. This created more oceans and coastlines, which made the world wetter and greener. Huge forests of ferns and tall trees grew everywhere. This was a great time for dinosaurs. They grew much bigger and became the dominant animals on land. This was the age of the giant, long-necked dinosaurs and the fierce predators that hunted them. It was a time of titans. The final chapter is the Cretaceous period. It started about 145 million years ago and was the longest of the 3 periods. The continents continued to move apart, looking more like they do today. This period saw the greatest variety of dinosaurs. New types of plants, like flowering plants, appeared for the first time. This changed the world for plant-eating dinosaurs, giving them new food sources. The Cretaceous was home to some of the most famous dinosaurs, like the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex and the 3-horned Triceratops. This was the peak of the dinosaur age, a world teeming with incredible creatures. Each of these 3 periods was a unique world. The dinosaurs that lived in the Triassic were very different from those in the Cretaceous. They had to change and evolve to survive in their environment. The story of the Mesozoic Era is a story of constant change. It shows us how dinosaurs adapted to new challenges and new opportunities over millions and millions of years. By looking at these 3 chapters, we can understand the incredible journey of the dinosaurs from their humble beginnings to their final glorious days as rulers of the Earth. At the start of the Triassic period, dinosaurs were not the masters of the planet. They were small, 2-legged animals living in the shadow of other, much larger reptiles. These other reptiles, like the crocodile-like Postosuchus, were the top predators. The first dinosaurs, such as Eoraptor, were probably quick and agile. They were about the size of a dog. They had to be fast to escape from bigger animals and to catch their own food, which was likely small lizards and insects. They were just one of many different groups of animals trying to survive in a tough, competitive world. So, what made the dinosaurs so special? One of their biggest advantages was how they walked. Unlike other reptiles that had legs sprawling out to the sides, dinosaurs had their legs directly under their bodies. This is called an erect stance. It is the same way that mammals and birds stand today. This posture allowed them to move more efficiently and breathe more easily while they ran. They could run faster and for longer distances than their competitors. This simple but important change in their body plan gave them a huge edge in the race for survival. Then, something happened that changed everything. Near the end of the Triassic period, around 201 million years ago, another mass extinction event occurred. Scientists think massive volcanic eruptions changed the climate very quickly. Many of the large reptiles that were the dinosaurs' main competitors could not survive these changes and died out. The dinosaurs, however, were more adaptable. Perhaps their efficient way of moving and breathing helped them to cope with the difficult conditions. With their main rivals gone, the world was suddenly open for them. With a clear path ahead, the dinosaurs took their chance. The Jurassic period began, and the Age of Dinosaurs truly started. They quickly evolved and diversified, filling the empty roles left by the extinct animals. They grew larger and spread across the globe. Some became giant plant eaters, while others became fearsome hunters. From their humble beginnings as small, overlooked creatures, the dinosaurs rose to power. They became the dominant land animals on Earth, and they would hold this position for the next 140 million years, a reign of incredible length and success. Not all dinosaurs lived for the same amount of time. Just like animals today, their lifespans were very different depending on their size and their lifestyle. The giant dinosaurs, the ones that were as big as houses, lived very long lives. Scientists study the bones of dinosaurs to understand how they grew. The bones have rings in them, similar to the rings inside a tree. Each ring represents 1 year of growth. By counting these rings, we can estimate how old a dinosaur was when it died. This method gives us a fascinating look into their lives. The largest dinosaurs of all were the sauropods. These were the long-necked, plant-eating giants like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus. These massive animals grew slowly but steadily throughout their lives. It took them many years to reach their full, enormous size. Because they were so big, they had very few predators once they were adults. This allowed them to live for a very long time. Scientists believe that some of the largest sauropods could have lived for 60, 80, or maybe even 100 years. Their long lives gave them plenty of time to reproduce and ensure the survival of their kind. On the other hand, smaller dinosaurs lived much shorter, faster lives. A dinosaur like Compsognathus, which was only about the size of a turkey, probably lived for only a few years. These smaller dinosaurs grew up very quickly. They had to. Their world was full of danger, and there were many bigger dinosaurs that wanted to eat them. They needed to become adults and have babies as fast as possible. Their strategy was to live fast and die young. This is a common pattern in nature. Smaller animals often have shorter lifespans than larger ones. Even a fearsome predator like Tyrannosaurus Rex did not live as long as the giant sauropods. Studies of T-Rex bones show that they grew incredibly fast during their teenage years. They would gain hundreds of kilograms every year. Most T-Rex seem to have lived for about 28 to 30 years. Life as a top predator was hard and dangerous. They often fought with each other and with their prey, leading to serious injuries. The fossil record shows many T-Rex skeletons with broken bones and bite marks, telling a story of a difficult and often violent life at the top of the food chain. When we think of giant dinosaurs, we are usually thinking of the sauropods. These were the largest animals to ever walk on land. Their most famous features were their incredibly long necks, long tails, and thick, pillar-like legs. They were plant eaters, and their enormous size was a defense against predators. A full-grown Argentinosaurus, one of the biggest sauropods we know of, could be over 35 meters long and weigh more than 70 tons. That is heavier than a whole group of elephants. These gentle giants roamed the world during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. The long neck of a sauropod was like a giant feeding machine. It allowed them to reach high into the treetops to eat leaves that other dinosaurs could not reach. It also let them graze on low-lying ferns and plants over a wide area without having to move their massive bodies. This saved a lot of energy. Their teeth were simple and peg-like, designed for stripping leaves from branches, not for chewing. They swallowed their food whole, along with stones called gastroliths. These stones would grind up the tough plant material inside their stomachs, helping them digest their food. Living as a giant had its challenges. Just pumping blood all the way up that long neck to the brain was a huge task. Sauropods needed incredibly powerful hearts to do this job. Their bones were also specially adapted to support their immense weight. While they were very thick and strong, many of their neck and backbones were also hollow inside. They had a complex system of air sacs connected to their lungs, much like modern birds. This made their skeletons lighter than they would have been if they were solid bone, making it easier for them to move their giant frames. Growing up as a sauropod was a dangerous journey. They hatched from eggs that were not much bigger than a football. A baby sauropod was small and vulnerable. It had to eat and grow as quickly as possible to avoid being eaten by predators. They likely lived in herds, which would have offered some protection, especially for the young. The image of a herd of these colossal animals moving across the ancient landscape is one of the most amazing sights the dinosaur world has to offer. They were true marvels of evolution, giants that shaped the world around them. There is one dinosaur that everyone knows, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Its name means tyrant lizard king, and it really did earn that name. T-Rex lived at the very end of the Cretaceous period, right before the dinosaurs went extinct. It was one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs that ever existed. An adult T-Rex could be more than 12 meters long and stand almost 4 meters tall at the hips. Its head alone was over a meter long, and it was filled with enormous sharp teeth. This was the ultimate predator of its time, a hunter right at the top of the food chain. The most famous feature of the T-Rex is, without a doubt, its powerful bite. No other land animal in history has had a stronger bite. Its huge jaw muscles could deliver a force strong enough to crush the bones of its prey. Its teeth weren't like knives. They were thick and strong, almost like giant railroad spikes. This meant they could bite through bone without breaking. When we find the bones of other dinosaurs from that time, like Triceratops, we sometimes find bite marks that perfectly match the teeth of a T-Rex. This gives us direct evidence of its power as a hunter. One of the big questions about T-Rex is its tiny arms. For such a huge and powerful animal, its two-fingered arms seem really small and almost useless. Scientists have lots of ideas about what they were for. Some think they were used to hold on to struggling prey, while others believe they might have helped the T-Rex push itself up from the ground after resting. It's possible they had a function that we just haven't figured out yet. Whatever their purpose, they certainly did not stop T-Rex from being a terrifying and successful predator. T-Rex was more than just a killing machine, though. It had a large brain for a dinosaur, and its senses were excellent. Its eyes faced forward, giving it good depth perception to judge distances to its prey. It also had a fantastic sense of smell, allowing it to find food from far away. Some scientists even think that T-Rex may have hunted in family groups or packs. This powerful, intelligent, and sensory-driven animal was the perfect combination of size and skill. It was the true king of its world, a perfect finale to the long age of dinosaur predators. Living in the same world as Tyrannosaurus Rex was another famous dinosaur, Triceratops. Its name means three-horned face, and it's easy to see why. It had a large horn on its nose and two long horns above its eyes. These horns could be over a meter long. Behind its head, it had a huge, solid bone shield called a frill. This impressive armor made Triceratops one of the most recognizable dinosaurs. It was a large animal, about the size of an elephant, and it was a plant eater. It lived in North America during the late Cretaceous period. The horns and frill of Triceratops were not just for show. They were essential tools for survival. The most obvious use for the horns was defense. When a predator like a T-Rex attacked, a Triceratops could charge and use its sharp horns to protect itself. We found fossil evidence of battles between these two giants, including T-Rex bones with puncture wounds from Triceratops horns. The large frill also offered protection for its neck. It was a powerful shield against the bone-crushing jaws of a hungry tyrannosaur. But defense was probably not the only reason for the horns and frill. They were also likely used for communication and display. Just like deer use their antlers to compete for mates, male Triceratops may have locked horns and wrestled with each other to show their strength and win the right to reproduce. The frill was full of blood vessels, and it could have been brightly colored. A Triceratops might have been able to flush blood into its frill to change its color, sending signals to other members of its species. This would make it a social animal with complex behaviors. Triceratops was a very successful dinosaur. Its fossils are some of the most common ones we find from the end of the Cretaceous period in North America. This tells us that there were a lot of them. They likely lived in large herds, moving across the landscape and eating low-growing plants like ferns and cycads. They had a powerful beak at the front of their mouth to snip off tough plants, and hundreds of teeth in their cheeks for grinding them up. Triceratops was a well-defended, social, and successful herbivore, a perfect match for the challenges of its world. The world of dinosaurs was not just about T-Rex and Triceratops. For over 150 million years, thousands of different dinosaur species evolved and filled every corner of the planet. There was an incredible diversity of shapes, sizes, and lifestyles. Some dinosaurs, like the Stegosaurus, had large plates on their back and a spiky tail for defense. The plates might have been used to control its body temperature or to show off to other dinosaurs. Its tail, with its sharp spikes, was a dangerous weapon against predators like Allosaurus. Other dinosaurs took to the air, evolving into birds. But there were other flying reptiles called pterosaurs that ruled the skies long before. And in the group of dinosaurs, some developed feathers for warmth or display. A dinosaur called Anchiornis had feathers on its arms and legs, forming 4 wings. It probably couldn't fly well, but it could glide from tree to tree. Another group, the raptors or dromaeosaurs like Velociraptor, were small, fast hunters. They had a large, curved claw on each foot, which they used as a deadly weapon to slash at their prey. There were also armored dinosaurs that were like living tanks. Ankylosaurus was covered in thick, bony plates and spikes. Even its eyelids were made of bone. At the end of its tail, it had a huge, heavy club of solid bone. It could swing this club with great force to break the legs of any predator that dared to attack it. These dinosaurs were herbivores, and their armor was their primary defense. They were low to the ground and very wide, making it almost impossible for a predator to flip them over to get to their soft belly. This amazing variety shows how adaptable dinosaurs were. There were dinosaurs that swam, dinosaurs that ran on 2 legs, and dinosaurs that walked on 4. There were dinosaurs with crests on their heads that made sounds like a trumpet, like Parasaurolophus. There were tiny dinosaurs and giant dinosaurs. They lived in deserts, forests, and on coastlines. For every type of environment, there was a dinosaur that had evolved to live there. This incredible diversity is what made the dinosaurs so successful for such an unbelievably long period of Earth's history. The long and successful reign of the dinosaurs came to a sudden and catastrophic end. About 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid, estimated to be about 10 kilometers wide, smashed into the Earth. It hit near the coast of what is now Mexico. The impact was more powerful than all the nuclear bombs in the world combined. It created a giant crater and sent a huge cloud of dust and rock into the atmosphere. This dust blocked out the sun for months, or even years. The world became dark and cold, a disaster for life everywhere. Without sunlight, plants died. The plant-eating dinosaurs had nothing to eat, and they starved. After the herbivores died, the meat-eating dinosaurs that hunted them also ran out of food. It was a global catastrophe that caused a mass extinction. More than 75% of all species on Earth, including all the dinosaurs except for one group, disappeared forever. It was a terrible end to a magnificent era. For 150 million years they had ruled the planet, but they could not survive the consequences of this one terrible day. The Age of Dinosaurs was over, but the story does not end there completely. One small group of dinosaurs did survive. These were small, feathered dinosaurs that had already evolved the ability to fly. We know them today as birds. Every bird you see, from a pigeon in the city to an eagle in the sky, is a living descendant of the dinosaurs. They are the last branch of that great family tree. So, in a way, the dinosaurs never truly left us. They are still here, living among us, a constant reminder of the incredible history of life on our planet. The legacy of the dinosaurs is immense. Their extinction cleared the way for a new group of animals to take over, the mammals. Our own distant ancestors were small creatures that lived in the shadows of the dinosaurs. After the dinosaurs were gone, mammals had the opportunity to grow, diversify, and eventually evolve into the many forms we see today, including humans. The dinosaurs shaped the world we live in. They show us the power of evolution and the fragility of life. Their story, written in stone and bone, continues to inspire our curiosity and wonder about the ancient world they once ruled.